Everyone, thank you for coming and sharing this evening with us. This event is always a great reminder that the start of the holiday season is just a few weeks away. Soon we will be visiting relatives and sharing time with the people we love. I am so grateful for everyone in this room who made time to be here to help us kick off our holiday programs and to help us give thanks to members of our community who help the Salvation Army in its mission. I would like to take a moment to introduce the members of our advisory board who each year help make this event possible. When I call your name, if you would please stand. Bob Stone, Terry Kubel, Ed Angster, Adam Servodio, Kelly Servodio, Larry Cagliostro, Ralph Wolf, Lauren Plump, Cheryl Massira, Jay Grunin, Jim DeAngelis, Chief Mitch Little, Don Foster, David Wright, who couldn't be here tonight, Ryan Reese. We also have Linda Kronk on our board, Noel Pashon, Brian Hanlon, and Sheriff Mastronardi. Please take a look around the room. These are absolutely amazing people. And what I want you to know is if you have any questions about the Salvation Army, about how to get involved or how to donate your time or your money, please speak to our board members before leaving. Your mind will be blown when you find out all of the things that the Salvation Army does to help people in our community. Tonight we are honoring the following individuals. Nancy McCory, who is retiring after serving the Army for many years in many capacities. Her husband, Keith McCory, who is receiving the Volunteer Award. Myself, I know what you're thinking, but I had nothing to do with it. I missed one planning meeting and came back to find out I had been chosen. To be honest, being chosen by the members on this board whom I admire was something I couldn't turn down. I am being honored with a Community Service Award, as are both the American Legion, Post 129, an equally great organization, and Witham Smith & Brown, an amazing partner to the Army. Have a great evening. Support a family in another part of the world by doing some Christmas shopping at the others table. Take an angel tag and make a kid's Christmas wish come true, or consider sponsoring a child for our summer camp program, which is amazing, as you will soon see. Thank you, happy Thanksgiving, Merry Christmas, and God bless you.
Let me add my greetings to you tonight. It's a pleasure for me to be back in Toms River, the Salvation Army in Ocean County. I bring you greetings tonight, first of all, on behalf of our territorial commanders for the Eastern United States, Commissioners William and Lorraine Bamford. I work for them now in my retirement days, and I must say it's an enjoyable sort of thing to do. But I bring you particular greetings tonight from Majors Chrissy and Ivan Rock, who are the state commanders for the Salvation Army. They would have been here this evening, but in the 28 or 30 Salvation Army sites around the state, occasionally they schedule things on the same evening. There were 3 events they were scheduled for tonight. Major Rock chose the one on which his wife was singing and performing. Wise husband. So on his behalf tonight, I welcome you and greet you. My name is, you can see on the program. I had the distinct privilege of spending about 6 months in Ocean County as in an interim position with the Salvation Army. And I'm pleased tonight to see that the lady who pretty much guided me through that event is going to be on the program to be honored. Nancy, I'm so glad to see you on the program here and to recognize the service that you gave. I made the mistake of volunteering to fill a gap in the Salvation Army service here, and it just happened to be during the Christmas period. A very busy time of year. I came into the community not really knowing a whole lot about Toms River and Ocean County. I spent the last 10 years in Newark, which probably ought to prepare you for about anything. but it was a different setting. So my standard answer through the Christmas season was often, let me ask Nancy about that. And it got me through a good Christmas day. I'm pleased to share with you tonight, for just a couple of moments, the Salvation Army makes the mistake that an army, a general in a real army would not make. We fight on many fronts. Napoleon would tell you, I can go through and name a few others, but having too many fronts of fighting is sometimes difficult. But the difference in the Salvation Army is that the resources and the troops that we have are supported by God Almighty. We come into this as a Christian commitment of faith. And the strength and the energy and the resources that God of the universe presents gives us an opportunity to sort of fight the battle on many fronts. Many of you know the different ways the Salvation Army operates through this community, and you're going to hear a little bit about them tonight. I'm going to tell you about 5 fronts we're fighting on tonight, and every one of them is emergency disaster services. Ed Angster would know about that. He spent a great deal of time working in the EDS services here in Ocean County and giving a great deal of leadership and direction to that. But the Salvation Army is currently fighting on 5 different fronts. Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands, Sutherland Springs, Texas, where there were shootings, hurricanes in Texas, Irma and Harvey, evacuees from the Caribbean that are coming to the United States, and finally we've started to wrap up with the Northern California wildfires. And just about the time that happens, there's another shooting in Texas. And another one of our teams have been called out to support with grief and counseling, support for that material. All the different fronts that are fighting there where the Salvation Army is giving opportunity. And what makes it possible? I said to you the resources of an almighty God that we serve, yes. Volunteers are what make it happen. People who come to the Salvation Army and say, I can give you my skills in this. It might be in radio communications, it might be in community planning, it might be in taking command of a situation and directing volunteers. It might be pulling community resources together. The professionals, the Salvation Army officers, who serve day and night, the soldiers and members of the Salvation Army who give themselves selflessly, they are backed up by a tremendous army of volunteers. And you represent them tonight. Let me show you just a little bit about what's going on in Texas. Picture's worth 1,000 words, and my voice doesn't have 1,000 tonight. When the first hurricane hit in Texas, Salvation Army trucks and volunteers rolled out. It looks pretty quiet there where they are now, but they're loading up to go to the seriously affected areas. As you know, the Army partners with all kinds of community groups. The command post in Texas, schools and hospitals and other churches who gave us warehouses where we located and stored material to be used. Volunteers who load up our trucks and head out to the front lines of communities where people are still in floodwaters. Many of our volunteers often wading through water or taking boats. They show up to work. Website there, and a place where you can pick up further information about the Salvation Army and its continuing operations in Texas, helping those relocate into new houses and homes, finding people places to live, buying furniture and refurnishing houses and homes, handling counseling and grief counseling. The trauma of that type of thing carries a long term. And just in the course when we're in the middle of serving with that type of thing and concentrating volunteers, another hurricane comes through, and it's already a devastated part of the Caribbean. Some very good friends of mine who I work with every day, the Velez family, volunteered to go to Puerto Rico. They're one of 110 USA's volunteers who left from the eastern United States to go to Puerto Rico. Now, those 110 volunteers are supplementing 1,700 Salvation Army officers and soldiers in the country of Puerto Rico, St. Thomas, St. Croix, and the Virgin Islands. They are people who live there and serve in the Salvation Army year-round. Keep the lights down. I'm going to show you another video on Puerto Rico.
For those overwhelmed by disaster, the Salvation Army is the first sign of hope, a constant presence, and we will remain serving until the need is met.
This is a native Puerto Rican officer
Throughout
speaking.
San Juan, Loíza, Fajardo, Humacao, Guayama, Ponce, Arecibo, Mayagüez, Bayamón, Peñuelas, Caguas, St. Thomas, and St. Croix, we fight. We fight for survivors to receive the most basic resources to combat hunger. We work each day to deliver our prayers in action, rejuvenating spirits and saving lives. We bless our friends who have helped us provide meals, drinks, cleanup kits, and emotional and spiritual care to those most in need. Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands are in our hearts and in our prayers. We will bring our home to recovery.
As I said earlier, this is a native Salvation Army officer speaking, who narrated this for you. She lives and works there. One of 1,700 who live and work on that island for the Salvation Army day in and day out, all the time. When the hurricanes hit and the island was totally devastated, FEMA approached the Salvation Army and asked us if we could serve 100,000 meals a day in Puerto Rico. To respond to that, the Salvation Army flew in 10 tractor-trailer-sized mobile kitchens. The U.S. military flew them in for us. You ever seen a C-130, you know it can fit that. They dropped it in there. They're located right now in 10 different sites around the island of Puerto Rico. Those 10 units, capable of producing 10,000 meals each a day, are producing more than that. They're averaging about 12,000 to 14,000 meals a day they produce and turn out and send them through 16 different sites that are in fixed locations on the island and 9 different sites that are mobile, traveling around, like the emergency disaster canteens you saw in some of the videos there. The Salvation Army's been there since the beginning because those 1,700 people live there.
Does she
And
reference
as soon as we
that
can get people
slide,
onto
or-
the island, that will continue to go on to serve one of the other fronts where we serve.
Stay on that.
But then Ocean County
Just so
knows
we
that.
can edit in after.
5.5 years ago,
Keep panning back and forth.
well, not quite 5.5. 5 years ago, my wife took over the operations for Hurricane Sandy in southern Jersey. She set up an office, moved down here, left me up in Newark.
What you can do is just record, because we can always hold
I
that frame.
personally
for it.
think she was happy to be out
So we're not having.
So left me up there,
generating all
came
kinds of
down
video.
here, and served on
If you
site,
advance
began to
the
put
slide,
together a
just make sure
structure
you
to
get
work
that again,
with all of the community organizations down here. I don't want to tell you how many millions of dollars she spent. Some days she would come back to the state commander, not me, she never asked me about spending money. She'd come back to the state commander and said, you know, I spent $800,000 today, is that okay? And he said, it's coming in, spend it. You're not building it up to hold on to it and hang on to it. Spend it, buy houses, buy property, buy furniture. And sat in what you know to be the Ocean County Coordinating Council and shared where one agency after the other, not just the Salvation Army, would say, I'll take that case and we'll fund that. That kind of participation. That's sort of a focus of a national, well, let me take it from the beginning, from an eastern United States to a national, to an international Salvation Army is what came to bear here in Ocean County, to serve in disaster services. It's that kind of a resource that you have in the Salvation Army. It's not just the local folks who are here all the time serving, but it's a worldwide Salvation Army who, when one part of the world explodes in difficulty, people respond from around our Salvation Army world. That's the resource we offer and give to you, an international Salvation Army. The resources we have come from a wide variety of places. but they come mostly from community support such as yours. Your attendance at this dinner, your participation in this community with the Salvation Army, support and encourage people. And I encourage you to talk to those board members who stood up. You want to find out what to say to somebody? When I said Salvation Army, what do they do? They're not another tavern, aren't they? If you don't know, get educated, because there's a multitude of things that happen there, and you're going to see some of them tonight. On behalf of our state commander, I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for listening to me. I want to thank you for supporting the Salvation Army and being part of that volunteer army behind the ones with the suits. Thank you. And Geraldine, I will leave your program. You did a beautiful job.
Okay, now we're going to eat, as if you haven't been eating already. And thank you, Major Kelly. That was a wonderful presentation. And it's, as he said, it's through your donations and through your time and through your good thoughts and a good word that the Salvation Army is able to do anything that it does. We are far outnumbered by our volunteers. 1,700 people work for the Salvation Army in Puerto Rico, but thousands more volunteer for the Salvation Army in Puerto Rico. And that's the same thing in Florida, the same thing in California, the same thing during Sandy, the same thing wherever we are. And so I thank you for making what we do possible. Have something to do. And then after we're done with the main course, we'll continue on with the program.
Good evening, everyone. Before I start and say nice things about Jerry Ambrosio, as board chairman of the Salvation Army, I just want to welcome you all tonight for coming out to our 21st annual awards dinner. Thanks go out to the retired officers. Thank you all for being here tonight. Our distinguished guests, our award winners, Post 129, Witham Smith and Brown, the McCorys, and of course, Jerry Ambrosio. What can I say about Jerry? Well, Jerry's been a board member of the Salvation Army for 11 years. She has put together our annual dinner for, I believe, 10 of those 11 years. She's been the chairperson of that. And what she said was true. We had a board meeting, and that was the one board meeting that she missed. So I said, let's honor Jerry this year. She can't say no. So it was unanimous. And then when she showed up at the following month's board meeting, that's when we broke the news to her. But clearly, Jerry, it's well deserved. You've done a marvelous job. You're very dedicated to our mission. I'm proud to be your friend. I'm proud to be on the board with you. And I just really can't say enough wonderful things about you. So since I can't, I brought along my partner, and she may say some things as well.
It gives me great honor to pay tribute to my friend Jerry tonight. I've always considered myself blessed to be a part of her life, and I've always been captivated by her fierce devotion to her family and friends, and all the organizations that she plays a major role in as well. She proudly serves her community and accepts responsibility by giving it her all. For many of us who work alongside of Jerry, we can all agree she demonstrates great commitment and pride. Throughout our years of friendship, Jerry has always remained authentic and engaging. And these are just some of the qualities that I admire about her. Tonight, Jerry, we celebrate you, we thank you, and we thank you for all the difference that you've made in so many lives in Ocean County.
Okay, for those who know me, You know how passionate I am about volunteering and serving our community. My passion sometimes gets me in trouble, but for the most part, it has served me well. Thank you, Majors John and Rhonda Ferreira, the Salvation Army officers, and the entire Salvation Army organization for inviting me some 11 years ago to be a member on this advisory board. I would like to thank the entire board from the bottom of my heart for choosing me to receive this honor and for believing I was worth it. I want to thank my family for being here to support me. I love them all more than they could ever know. My mom and dad, who have always been there for me, are here tonight, John and Kathy Loicano. My wonderful husband of 19 years, Craig Ambrosio, and my two beautiful children, Craig, John, and Kate. My sister is here with my nephew and godson. Pretty much, he is also my son. I claimed him when he was born. My sister really had no say in the matter. Lisa and Mark Fiore. My Aunt Fran Amato, who was more like a sister to me, is here. And Anne Marie Riley and Debbie Siegel, two of my many cousins, are also here to support me. Thank you to our freeholder, Virginia Haynes, for being here tonight to give our honorees proclamations. And I also want to thank my friends and everyone else in the room who came out tonight to support this wonderful organization. I would encourage everyone to get involved, no matter how small the gesture. Reach out and make someone's life a little easier, a little happier. Let them know by your deeds that they are loved, and encourage them to believe that anything is possible, because it truly is if their hearts are open. Let's all set a goal this holiday season to do something to serve the people in need in our community. May God bless you all. Thank you. Have a safe and happy holiday season. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
You like being video? That's fun. I get to walk around. Wait, I like the headset. We were supposed to have them for a Halloween thing. But I guess they weren't working. I forgot where these were, actually. These are the newer ones. Those are the older ones. The problem with those are, I was told, they work on like a wireless technology. So now with all the cell phones and Wi-Fi, they have interference. So these work on radio frequency. Okay. So it's kind of like a headset walking phone. Yeah, exactly.
Oh boy, look out. Good evening, everyone. My name is Ralph Wolf, and I have the distinct honor tonight to present this next award to the American Legion Post 129. Tonight we have representatives of, oh, excuse me for a moment.
Since you're a good boy.
May I have my cover, please? There you go. I'm new with this. That's better, right? Ladies, gentlemen. All right, so we have representatives here tonight from all the commands at Post 129 on Church Road. Now, a lot of you guys think that, well, we're an organization of old men sitting around playing cards and drinking beer. Well, that's pretty much true. But that's in our off time. I think I've belonged to this post for the last 8 years, and I have never seen a post so committed to the veterans and to the community that I have here. Let me read you a few things that we do. As I find the page. Do I have the right program? Here we go. Well, let me tell you that our post was commissioned in 1919, October of 1919. So we are approaching our 100th year here in Toms River. That's pretty good, right? And the amount of good cannot be calculated that the post has done. Here's some of the things that we're involved in. Run for the Fallen. And I'm not going to go through each one of these, but these are really, really important programs. Thank you. Programs. I've done this before. Once before. Vietnam Museum and Memorial. The Gold Star families, we all know what that is. The Purple Heart Memorial. The War Dog Memorial. Funeral Escorts. Mission of Honor. The Watchfires. Vet Work. Hiring Our Heroes. Boots to Reboots. Veterans Town Hall. Vet Haven. Annual Thanksgiving Dinner, which is coming up, I believe, this weekend for our veterans. And that's a program where the folks go out to the nursing home to pull our veterans in and serve Thanksgiving dinner to those folks there. Very, very important. CODA, Legion Baseball, Boy State, Girl State, Boy Scout Troops, Girl Scout Troops, the Venture Crew, Emergency Family in Need, People's Pantry, temporary financial aid to our veterans who find themselves in dire straits, Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Ocean County. That's just a few of the organizations that we support. Tonight with us, and I'll give you an idea of the many working parts of the American Legion, besides the beer, cards, and pool. We have the Legionnaires. We have the Riders. We have the Auxiliary. And we have the Sons of the American Legion here with us tonight. So it's a large group. Did I forget anybody? I'm good? I'm on? All right. And there's a lot of working parts. I'm very, very honored to present this to Post 129. Receiving this award tonight on behalf of the Post is our commander, Mr. Michael Schaefer.
Hi. Now that Ralph's told everybody everything that we do, kind of eliminated 45 minutes of my speech, which is probably a good thing for everybody. First, though, I want to thank the Salvation Army and their search committee and their nominating committee for blessing us with this honor. We have done a lot of stuff in the township, and we will continue to do that. And we pride ourselves as being a family post. And I want to introduce some of the members who are here tonight. I have Mr. Ray Miller, and just raise your hand. I just have Mr. Ray Miller, past commander, Department of New Jersey Executive Committeeman. Mr. Richard Gato, past commander. Mr. Dave Corbin, past commander. Mr. Robert Scheidemann, past commander, and his lovely wife, past commander, but she decided that she'd rather be with the grandchildren this evening. Mr. Richard Godfrey, past commander, Department of New Jersey Membership Chairman. Mr. Eddie Rutzler, Vice Commander. Mrs. Pat Corman, past Auxiliary President. Mrs. Carol Rutzler, Auxiliary Treasurer. Ms. Lorinda Miller. I'm not sure what she does, but she does a lot of stuff with Auxiliary. I know that she was the past membership chairman and gets involved in everything that they're doing with all their programs. And I have Mr. Rocky Gutierrez, current commander of the Sons of the Legion, and Mr. Bobby George, past commander of the Sons of the Legion. And of course, Mr. Ralph Wolf, who spends all our money. He's our financial officer. And again, you know, it's that old American Legion thing. You know, my dad, my grandfather belonged to the American Legion, and that's pretty much what it was back in the day. But we're the largest post in the state of New Jersey. We have over 1,750 members, 400 auxiliary, 400 sons. So we have 2,500 members that call this their post home. And we do a lot of stuff in the community. And the real deal is that this is the new Legion. We're not the old Legion, because we are trying to make that incredible impact on what goes on locally and nationally. And I've actually never been prouder than when I can tell somebody I'm a Legionnaire. We're the largest supporter of veterans and veterans issues. We're the most powerful organization of wartime veterans and families today. We have over 2.3 million members who operate through 14,000 posts across the United States. Since its inception, the Act of Congress in 1919, the American Legion has delivered substantial improvements for veterans, families, and communities. We ushered in the modern VA system. The Legion drafted and drove home the passage of the GI Bill and the post-9/11 GI Bill. The Legion has brought into existence dozens of healthcare benefits for veterans and programs designed to provide decent civilian careers after discharge. The American Legion works every day on behalf of U.S. citizens, U.S. servicemen and women, is recognized as a national leader in transition assistance from military to civilian life, providing resources for careers, education opportunities, child care, and more. And there are 4 pillars to the American Legion. I'm going to go through these really quick. Pillar 1 is Veterans Affairs and Rehabilitation Pillar, which is composed of programs and services and advocacy efforts that improve the lives of those who served along with their families and dependents after discharge from the military, and a bunch of departments that manage into that. The National Security Pillar of the American Legion positions our national defense and homeland security, border control, and military support are all part of the long-held Legion value that the key to peace and world stability is a strong, well-resourced defense. In order to protect American troops and their families, we have supported, and the American Legion continues to support, a vital role in the men and women who risk their lives to protect our freedom. Pillar 3 is Americanism. For those that may be looking to make a difference in the community, the American Legion is a great place to start, from Legion Baseball, Boy State, Girl State, Legion Riders, Legion College. There are plenty of opportunities if you want to get involved, and our members do nothing but do that. We're involved in a lot of programs across the Ocean County. Pillar 4 is Children and Youth. This pillar is a guide to the 3 main objectives that strengthen family unit support organizations, help children in need, and provide communities with well-rounded programs to provide hope and opportunity for young people facing difficult challenges. A family support network, child welfare foundation, social issues, substance abuse, and suicide prevention. Can I have all the veterans in the room raise their hands? Thank you, thank you, thank you. Again, thank you for having us here tonight. And again, we're the new Legion. We're not the guys sitting around drinking beer, smoking cigars, playing cards. We're out in the community doing our thing. So again, thank you all for this. I really appreciate it.
All right, can everybody hear me? Yes. All right, I have to hold this because I think it's not really standing on its own. All right, so I'm slightly unprepared tonight because I'm presenting the award to myself and my firm. Wasn't really aware of the 2-person intro and another person to accept, so I'll be serving as both of those. But you're welcome. I'll only be taking half the time. I got it, Rich. All right, everyone, just bear with me. I'll start on page 1. It only goes to 20, so just be patient. Food will be out soon. All right. Good evening, and thanks for coming out to support the Salvation Army tonight. I'm honored to accept this recognition on behalf of Witham Smith & Brown. We're a CPA firm serving the tri-state area. I'm honored that we are being recognized for the Community Service Award. But honestly, I was a little disappointed. I thought I was going to get the most handsome committee member award this year. Unfortunately, that's going to Jim DeAngelis for the 15th year running. Can we get a round of applause for our fearless leader over there? All right, but in all seriousness, it really is a huge honor to be recognized and a privilege to serve on such a great committee, and that's the Salvation Army Toms River Corps. The Salvation Army has been in Ocean County since 1988, and they strive to do the most good, as their slogan says. For those not familiar with the Salvation Army, I'll run through some numbers real quick, because numbers are kind of my thing. In Ocean County alone, the Salvation Army Food Pantry feeds over 200 families a month. Their Hearty Helpings program serves over 120 meals every Thursday. And they have over 70 kids attending their summer camp program. And where's the tree at, Jerry? Is it over there? All right, so with that tree, and thanks to everyone here for bringing an unwrapped gift, that program is going to reach over 1,200 kids this Christmas. And that's 1,200 kids just in Ocean County. That's not throughout the state, that's just Ocean County. And it's an honor to be part of the Salvation Army, and I'm also grateful to be at a CPA firm like Witham, Smith & Brown. We have a one-page little summary here if you want to read about the firm. But we are a CPA firm, and I think what makes us different is that our leadership recognizes the importance of giving back to the community. Our founders, like Ivan Brown, would really put the pressure on new CPAs after they pass the test to give back to their communities. So after passing the CPA exam, they would welcome you in, give you a big congratulations, and then say, what are you going to do with all your free time now? Why don't you give back to the community? All right, so as part of that initiative, the firm has established a program called Witham's Week of Caring. So over Thanksgiving week, we have over 500 staff volunteer at 50 different organizations for a total of over 2,500 hours served in that week alone. And all this is in hopes that we will give staff just a taste of volunteering so that they catch the bug and commit to a lifelong volunteering. And I myself am proof that that program works, because about 5 years ago, we were doing the Witham Week of Caring at the Salvation Army, and I didn't know much about them. But we were handing out food for Thanksgiving, and after getting to know Jim DeAngelis a little bit, he asked me to be on the board. So I learned more about what they did. I joined the committee, and I've been volunteering with them ever since. So it's really been a great honor, and I just want to thank the Salvation Army for recognizing us. I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. And if we could get a big round of applause for all of our honorees this year, and all of our committee members here in the room. Especially Jerry.
I hesitate to say anything unless they get corrected once again. I told you we were going to eat before. I think now the food is time. So now I'll eat, and then we'll continue on with the rest of the awards. Otherwise, you might not stay. And I'd like you all to stay. Just a few things. The other staple over there, if you had a chance to look at the screens that were in the corner, that's about a fair trade program that occurs by the Salvation Army in Kenya and Bangladesh, Moldova, and Kenya, I said that. And they produce those items that are on the table for sale, mostly in the United States. And it's an Eastern Territory program. And what happens is if you buy any of those items, someone in one of those countries is making a decent living. And very often they're women who have been widowed. There are all kinds of stories that occur. They're sometimes in war-torn zones and places where there's upheaval, and those people are able to support themselves through the sale of those items. And I think it's one of the better international programs that the Salvation Army does. And so when you leave, or if you would like to look, I would invite you to do that. And I also want to mention that we have people in uniform here from the Salvation Army. All of the things that you've heard talked about, including disaster work and Christmas work, and all of those things have been done all their lives by these retired officers who decided to relocate to Whiting and places like that in their retirement to go to our Corps in Ocean, in Toms River, the Ocean County Citadel Corps. And so those folks that you see in uniform here tonight have been doing that work all their lives. And so I'd like to thank them for coming out and supporting us. So I want to remind you, those who are leaving, we have these lovely gift bags here. For one a couple, one a single, or as a party gift, and thank you for coming. It has a lovely Christmas tree bulb and a heart, hand embroidered heart from Kenya, as a tree ornament as well. So please don't leave without coming up for your bag, but you're not allowed to come up until the show's over. Some people have left already. It's okay. Now I'm going to give out an award. Hi. I'm going to give out an award to the Volunteer of the Year. I have written about him in the booklet that Jay Grunin was nice enough to pass out. And in the Salvation Army, people want to volunteer for us all the time. There are many that come. And quite frankly, some are really helpful, some are in the middle, and some are asked not to come anymore. But, that does happen from time to time. In order to help, you have to be a help. And so when we select a Volunteer of the Year, this is somebody that stands out far and above what the normal standard of volunteering would be. And the gentleman that we're going to give the award tonight is one such person. Now, when we hired his wife years ago, we didn't know we were going to give it to him. But we did. And as I said in the booklet, when he worked, if he left, the work was done. He came when the work started, and he left when the work was finished. If we were locking the door, it was because he left. And when he left, the work was done. He did work at Hearty Helpings. He picked up toys. He set up our toy shop. He went around and got food. He basically did anything that his wife told him to do. However, his wife told him to do it for us. And so it is my pleasure to give a Volunteer of the Year award to Keith McClure.
don't know me, I'm usually the guy, like they say, in the kitchen. If you check the nice brochures that they were handed out, my better half is on the right-hand side, and I couldn't get a picture of me because my head was probably in the dishwasher. So, I understand Major John was a big influence in getting my name out here. I have a little confession to make. I was raised Catholic and I'm Irish, so if we don't confess something, the universe goes bad and it's awful happen. I spoke to Nancy about it when I first heard about it, and I said, well, there's 20 of us volunteers here. There's a big core of volunteers there, and I said, let somebody else do it. That's not, you know, right? So she said, no, you're going to accept this award, and you're going to like it. So being the good husband that I am, I said, thank you, dear, I will be there on the 15th, and wear a nice suit. So I really want to say, I want to thank the Salvation Army for all the good work they do in Social County. It's amazing to work with them. I've never met such a more dedicated and generally nice group of people. It's fantastic. And if you're a volunteer there, it's a wonderful life experience. I can't say enough about them. That's about all I have to say. Thank you very much, and I really appreciate it.
Well, I grew up in Boston, so I'm used to Irish Catholics. And went to many Sacred Heart dances when I was a kid, so I understand your need to confess. Thank you for accepting the award, saying such nice things. And I'm glad that you're keeping it. Now, we'd like to appreciate someone who's worked for us for a while, I believe, because is it 2008? That's what I wrote down. But, you know, as I get into my elderly years, I forget sometimes. I have it right in front of me, I could have read it. I did not hire her. And this happens in the Salvation Army. You come to an installation or an appointment, as we call them, at our Corps, and you inherit the staff that somebody else has hired. And often you thank those people for hiring the staff that you have, because it works so well. Now, there is something that goes with the job that Nancy had. There's a personality kind of profile for social service caseworkers, and she fitted perfectly. She cares about people. She cares about when they're in trouble. She wants to help them out of trouble. She signed on to the Salvation Army's mission to help people regardless of their situation, based only on need. And she did so much work and did it so meticulously that it's very difficult to follow her. But it was a joy to have her for the year that she worked for me. Such meticulous reports. She gave me a better brief. In the Salvation Army, the officers call it a brief of appointment that the officers give you when you come in, so they tell you what's going on. She gave me a better brief than the officers had. It was more meticulous and more exacting. And all of the things that she did, we were able to continue to do because of that dedication, not only to when she was there, but what happened after. And she decided to retire. She decided to take a break from this thing. And she did the toy shop. She did Thanksgiving distribution. She set up the Sandy office under the guidance of Major Kelly, Major Barbara Kelly. But she put the office together on the house that we own across the street on Parkwood Avenue. And she helped thousands and thousands of people. And she interacted with them, and she cared about them because she was their neighbor. And she made the Salvation Army a good neighbor too. Whatever good work we do, it's not because of us. It's because of the people who work for us and the people who work with us. They're often the face of the Salvation Army. They're the ones that you see first. You usually don't see me until I'm here doing something like this. But you see, if you walked into the office of the Salvation Army, you would see Nancy. Nancy would have been there. Nancy was the first face that people would see. very often. And she did such a wonderful job for so many years, both at the Sandy office and the everyday disasters that people find themselves in. There are huge disasters, but there are also individual disasters. And that's when people come for help. And those disasters are just as important, just as debilitating, and just as catastrophic as any Sandy storm or anything that would happen along those lines, anything that's happened in California, all of those things. If something happens in your family, that's catastrophic for you. And Nancy was the person that they came to see when they signed up with the Salvation Army. So I want to thank Nancy for her years of service. I want to appreciate her as a first-rate employee who I would recommend to be hired by anybody. She's one of the best caseworkers I've ever seen, and I would like to appreciate Nancy McCoy.
I wasn't prepared to talk tonight, but I promise I'll be brief. Being here tonight is definitely very bittersweet. Sweet because I've been able to retire and spend a lot more time with my family, especially my two lovely little grandchildren over here. And definitely bitter because it means that I've left a job that has meant so very much to me. When I started at the Corps, what I knew of the Salvation Army is that they collected money at Christmas. They had thrift stores, and they sent out trucks in disasters. And the longer I worked there, the more I realized how much more the Salvation Army is and how much it does. And I have to really thank the advisory board, the officers, the retired officers, and Cassie for always making me look good. Because sometimes I felt like a real deer in headlights, and I can't thank you enough. So I know that although I have left the Salvation Army, in my heart there's a part of the Salvation Army that will never leave me. And I thank you very much. It's been an honor and a privilege.
Oh, I'm here. This is what's going to happen in the ensuing months. We're going to see a little video as they bring out your dessert and things like that happen. So a little montage of the summer camp, and then after that, we'd like you to stay because Freeholder Virginia Haynes is going to issue proclamations to the 5 people that we've acknowledged. Yes, that's what we want. I need Jerry to smile at me to make sure I'm saying the right thing. Because I've already crossed it once tonight, and she gave up and corrected that. So we'll see the video, which the wonderful people from Voltech have been doing the audio visual tonight and recording this thing, and I'd like to thank them as well. And take it away, Justin. Yes, you almost lived every minute debate. If you're interested in seeing the whole thing, that was happening. We'll give you a CD if you ask. DVD. Those are the DVDs we give to the kids' parents. They take those home so they can know that we treat them well. But we had 66 kids this year that came, and as you can see, they go on a lot of trips. They go on have a lot of activities because our building's a little small. As time goes by, we're hoping to expand our facility because when we run that program, we have to shut down our other programs because we can't mix the populations. So when during the summertime, we don't do the feeding program. We can't have the adults and the minors in the building at the same time. And so that is in the future for the Salvation Army. We own the land across the street, and we'd like to expand and have a gym and separate facilities and things like that, so that we can have after-school programs as well. and be able to have the adults in for the feeding program all at the same time because we can keep the population separate. So that's in our future. That's what we hope to do, and you'll probably hear more of that as time goes by. The advisory board certainly knows about it. And so I'm going to thank the advisory board right now for everything that they have done. And I'm going to thank Jerry right now for everything that she did. Jerry's responsible for this whole thing. And that's why we gave her an award, because we don't want her to stop doing it. I hope she didn't think we retired, because we wanted to keep on with that. And I believe the freeholder now would like to make a presentation to the people who received it.
Thank you and good evening, everyone. I think we should give the young people from the vocational school a big round of applause for what they're doing. I'm going to be very brief. I could make it go another hour. I could read each proclamation word for word, and then we could sit here for a little bit longer, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to ask all of the recipients to come up, and I'm just going to talk a little bit about each one, and I'll present them all at the same time, because they've all been up here, and you've heard all the wonderful things each individual has done. Jerry, as we all know, she's the Energizer Bunny. No matter what you ask Jerry to do, she will do it. She's always there. She has never said no in all the years that I've known Jerry. She is a dedicated person to whatever she sets out to do. When you go to the Legion, this is for our veterans. I mean, they are veterans themselves. Ocean County has the largest number of veterans in the state of New Jersey. It's great that we have organizations such as the Legion to be there for them, for all the many wonderful things that you do with them, Smith and Brown, for all that you do, for your community service that you've done through the years for Salvation Army. Then we go to Mr. McClory. And of course, his wife, who I know, she sits on the liaison to the Human Services Department, which part of that is the Human Services Advisory Council. And I know that you retired, but I understand you are not leaving our Human Services. And I think we have a meeting tomorrow, isn't it? Oh, it was canceled? Oh, nobody told me. I was going to go to the meeting tomorrow. But anyway, I think this is such a great event. You can see by everyone attending here this evening, it shows the support for the Salvation Army, not just the honorees, because the Salvation Army has been around for over 100 years, and the work that they do is tremendous. They are there for everybody. It doesn't matter who calls them, who needs their help, who needs food, who needs shelter, whatever it may be, they are there. I know last year was the first year that I'd helped with the toys, when the parents would come in. I know Jim was there. And it's amazing. They have piles and tables and piles of toys that are separated and are put for different age groups. And it's just a wonderful organization, because it's not just for the Christmas holidays, but it's every single day of the year. And we can be thankful for having the Salvation Army. I know one last thing, my mother, who has passed away, but I mean many years ago in Lakewood, when she was welfare director, one of the things was her pride and joy was helping out with the Salvation Army, because she became very involved with them in the Lakewood unit, and she would always stand on the corner ringing the bell, trying to raise money, for the organization to do what they do, because they do such good work throughout the world, and we're just very fortunate of the unit that we have here in Ocean County. Thank you. If ever all the recipients come up, I will present you with your proclamations. And they're from the freeholder board.
Well, that's pretty much our show. Thanks to those who said nice things about us, and nice things to the people who received the recognition. I grew up in Boston. There's plenty of American Legion things going on there, and it's always they were always around to help. Back then, it was guys who did draft, and so I always respected the American Legion, and I want to thank the people from the Ocean County Corps, the members of the Corps, the folks that you see in uniform for coming out. I'd like to thank the staff. They're not all here tonight, but I'd really like to thank Cassie for all the work she did. And, I'd like to thank Angela and Reed, who were bothering you with colored pieces of paper. They were a big help too. You might have seen Reed. She was one of the summer camp staff members, and they got a nice show. You fall asleep. She also works for us. She grew up with us. So she stayed with us. So I'd like to thank that. I really want to thank the advisory board, though. One of the best things to have is a good advisory board, because they let us know what's going on in the community, and because we don't always know what kind of an odd group of people with our uniforms and things like that, and so people don't always tell us what they really think of us, and so the advisory board lets us know what people think of us, and some of the things that we need to do in the community, and it just makes the job so much easier, especially at Christmas time, when you have a good staff, and when you have a good advisory board, and you have a lot of good volunteers. It just makes the work of the Salvation Army, it helps me to sleep at night. We and my wife and I, she wasn't feeling too good, so she hasn't stuck around, but we would be the last people standing, as they say, if we didn't have any. Is she over there? Yeah. Oh, great. Oh, there she is. She's dead. And so, when we have so many fine people that help us out, and this Corps is just so lucky and blessed by God and by you to have so many nice people, so many good people on the advisory board, so many wonderful volunteers, and such a good staff, and people that support the Corps and come to it as their church is also very important to us. And in all of those facets of the Salvation Army, this is the best place that I've ever been. And so I want to thank you for that, because it's you that makes it possible. So thanks for coming out tonight. Please feel free to finish your desserts and have some coffee. And don't forget to get a bag. If you stay too long and the people in uniform begin to get a little smaller, you can get further away. So, but stay as long as you like to finish your coffee and talk to each other. And thank you very much for coming out. And hope to see you again.
When you're leaving, please stop by the tree. There are angel tags on the tree. Children have requested specific things. A lot of times it's just clothing, they want pajamas, they want things that they need, so thank you very much.
You'll have fun with me, right?
Yeah, sure I am. I remember when I came here, I was visiting.
That's so long ago.
Yeah, I was visiting, and I was downstairs in Mr. East class. They showed me, like, a bunch of stuff, and then they're like, everybody tries to go into photography, and in my opinion, I wasted a year trying to do that. Yeah, people told me that, and I was like, oh, alright.
That's so good.
But he's visual design. Mr. Earhart. Yeah. There's like 3 different types. So we have a workshop, media, and photography. Like
I remember you from going to your school.
yeah. I was so excited.
That was like such an awkward type of like career day. We had like 5 minutes to try to ramble off. I'm glad though that you came over to talk, because that was better having like a one-on-one after.
Yeah.
I wish my school could talk. You can go to communications high school, right?
Not anymore.
No?
I don't know if you can do both right anymore.
Oh, well, yeah.
Sucks.
Well, could you have started this year then, or do you have to start as like a...
No, you can start whenever at any time.
Right, but Monmouth County is a little different.
Oh, right.
Yeah, they have like an academy of sorts. Yeah, it's not
I know
fair
for my school you can only come if you're junior. We have comms, which is like